Joe Rogan fully exposes Sam Altman in this video. He actually says that Sam Altman was full of BS, that he was talking like a politician, and that he is working on releasing a monster into the world in regards to OpenAI. Don't usually see Rogan like this. He's not usually on our side when it comes to the AI talk. At least it doesn't feel that way. But in this clip, he definitely has a different tune, and I love it. After that, we're going to go into what Joe Rogan's talking about. We're going to show you some stuff about Sam Altman, and we're going to show you what he actually has to say when it comes to people losing their jobs because of his company. And it's not good. Let's jump into this first, and I'll show you the rest.
Really does start and end with an infinite number of big bangs. Like, what does it give a shit about this 100-year lifespan that we think is so significant? It's not significant to the universe. It's just significant in our own little version of this game that we're playing.
That's exactly right. And so many people now kind of try to zoom out and go, if I wasn't human, if I didn't have this pro-human bias,
Right.
would I care about them? No, they're not special. There's a large universe, many alien races, a lot of resources. Maybe creating super intelligence is the important thing. Maybe that's what matters. And I'm kind of like, nope, I'm biased pro-humans. This is the last bias you're still allowed to have. I'm going to keep it.
Well, that's your role in this simulation. Your role in this simulation is to warn us about this thing that we're creating.
Here I am, yeah.
Yeah, there you are.
We're doing a good job.
I think what you were saying earlier about this being the answer to the Fermi paradox, that makes a lot of sense. Because I've tried to think about this a lot since AI started really ramping up its capability. And I was thinking, well, if we do eventually create super intelligence, and if this is this normal pattern that exists all throughout the universe, well, you probably wouldn't have visitors. You probably wouldn't have advanced civilizations. They wouldn't exist because everything would be inside some sort of a digital architecture. There would be no need to travel.
That's one possibility.
Yeah.
Another one is that they try to acquire more resources, capture other galaxies for compute, and then you would see this wall of computronium coming to you, but we don't see it, so maybe I'm wrong.
Wall of say that again?
Computronium, like a substance converting everything in the universe into more compute.
Oh, boy.
Sometimes people talk about hedonium, so a system for just generating pleasure at the macroscopic level.
Oh, Roman. When you write a book like this, I'll let everybody know your book if people want to freak out, because I think they do. AI, unexplainable, unpredictable, and uncontrollable. Do you have this feeling when you're writing a book like this and you're publishing it of futility? Does that enter into your mind? Like, this is happening no matter what?
So some people are very optimistic. Lex was very optimistic. Some people are pessimistic. Both are a form of bias. You want to be basing your decisions on data. You want to be realistic. So I just want to report what is actually the state of the art in this. I don't try to spin it either way. If someone else has a different set of evidence, we can consider it. I want to know what's really happening. I want to know reality of it. So I don't see it as fear-mongering or anything of that nature. I see it as of today, whatever today's date, 21st, no one has a solution to this problem. Here's how soon it's happening. Let's have a conversation. Because right now, the large AI labs are running this experiment on 8 billion people.
Yeah.
They don't have any consent. They cannot get consent. Nobody can consent because we don't understand what we're agreeing to. So I would like people to know about it at least, and they can maybe make some good decisions about what needs to happen.
Not only that, but the people that are running it, they're odd people. You know? Like, I don't have anything against Sam Altman. I know Elon Musk does not like him. But when I had him in here, I was like, it's like I'm talking to a politician that is in the middle of a presidential term, or a presidential election cycle, where they're very careful with what they say. Everything has been vetted by a focus group, and you don't really get a real human response. Everything was like, yeah, interesting, very interesting. Like, all bullshit. They're going to leave here and keep creating this monster that's going to destroy the human race and never let on to it at all.
He's a social superintelligence. So what you need to do is look at his blog posts before he was running OpenAI.
Social superintelligence. Interesting. Why do you define him that way?
He's very good at acquiring resources, staying in control. He's basically showing us a lot of the things where concerned about with AI and our ability to control them as well. OpenAI had a board with a mission of safety and openness, and they tried removing him and they failed. The board is gone. He's still there.
There's also been a lot of deception in terms of profitability and how much money he is extracting from it.
I met him a few times. He's super nice.
Very nice guy.
Really enjoyed him. Some people say that AI already took over his mind and controlling him, but I have no idea.
Well, he might be an agent of AI. I mean, if let's assume that this is a simulation. We're inside of a simulation. Are we interacting with other humans in the simulation? And are some of the things that are inside the simulation, are they artificially generated? Are there people that we think are people that are actually just a part of this program?
So it's the NPC versus real player question, really. And again, we don't know how to test for consciousness. Always assume everyone is conscious and treat them nice.
Yes, that's the thing. We want to be compassionate, kind people, but you will meet people in this life. You're like, this guy is such an idiot. He can't be real. Or he has to have a very limited role in this bizarre game we're playing. There's people that you're going to run into that are like that.
You ever meet someone where they repeat the same story to you every time you meet them?
Yes.
They have a script.
Well, it's also...
I just have to say, I can't wait to talk about Sam Altman possibly having his mind taken over by AI. Please put your tinfoil Speedos on. Please. I am asking you very nicely to secure them right away.
You want to be very kind here, right? But you've got to assume, and I know my own intellectual limitations in comparison to some of the people that I've had, like Roger Penrose or Elon or many of the people that I've talked to. I know my mind doesn't work the way their mind works. So there are variabilities that are, whether genetic, predetermined, whether it's just the life that they've chosen and the amount of information that they've digested along the way and been able to hold on to. But their brain is different than mine. And then I've met people where I'm like, there's nothing there. Like, I can't help this person. It's just like I'm talking to a Labrador retriever. You know what I mean? Like, there's certain human beings that you run into in this life, and you're like, well, is this because this is the way that things get done? And the only way things get done is you need a certain amount of manual labor, and not just young people that need a job because they're, in between high school and college, and they're trying to do. So you need somebody who can carry things for you. No, maybe it's you need roles in society, and occasionally you have a Nikola Tesla. Occasionally you have one of these very brilliant innovators that elevates the entirety of the human race. But for the most part, as this thing is playing out, you're going to need a bunch of people that are paperwork filers. You're going to need a bunch of people that are security guards in an office space. You're going to need a bunch of people that aren't thinking that much. They're just kind of existing, and they can't wait for 5 o'clock so they can get home and watch Netflix.
I think that's what happens to them, but the reason is the spectrum of IQ. If you have IQ from 50 to 200, that's what you're going to see. And the great lesson here is project it forward. If you have something with IQ of 10,000, what is that going to invent for us? What is it going to accomplish? Yeah, it always impresses.
I just have to say, what Joe just said is very much, I don't know, I don't want to call it elitist, but it sounded wild, where he's just like, the rest of these people, they don't think too much. So they're just, it's like, who are you hanging around? Who is he hanging around? He needs to go to a small town in Europe where nobody knows who he is. That's what he needs to do. He needs to spend a few weeks out there or something. This is wild. Who says that? I know what he means, but I don't know. You don't say things like, oh, some people are just running around not thinking too much. He's basically saying, all these people, all these plebs, they're all NPCs. It's like, come on.
Impresses me to see someone with 30 felonies and someone with 30 patents. How did that work, right? Now scale it to someone who can invent new physics.
Right. And, the person who has the largest IQ, the largest at least registered IQ in the world, is this gentleman who recently posted on Twitter about Jesus, that he believes Jesus is real. Do you know who this is?
I saw the post.
You see that post?
I saw the post.
What did you think about that? I felt like this was...
So I think we don't know how to measure IQs outside of standard range. Anything above 150, they create customized tests, which like 4 people in the world can take. We just don't have... It's a normalized test to average human, average Western American, whatever.
Yeah.
And so we just don't have the expertise. So someone very super intelligent in test taking can score really well, but if you look at Mensa as a group, they don't usually have amazing accomplishments. They're very kind of cool people, but...
Very true. Also, he's jealous. He's so jealous. He's so jealous of that super smart guy who said Jesus is king. Well, what can you do? What can you do? You know, one for us on the 4th of July, no less. We are back, America. We are so back. Come on. Are you kidding me? Even the smart guys are starting to wise up. That's what I like to see. Surprised Joe Rogan's not dressed like a bald eagle. Let's just jump into the Sam Altman interview really quick, just to get a feel for what Joe is talking about here. This is him and Sam Altman sitting down for a talk.
And wondering what the potential for the future is and whether or not that's a good thing.
I think it's going to be a great thing, but I think it's not going to be all a great thing. And that is where I think that's where all of the complexity comes in for people. It's not this like clean story of we're going to do this and it's all going to be great. It's We're going to do this. It's going to be net great, but it's going to be like a technological revolution. It's going to be a societal revolution. And
this guy's talking like Gavin Newsom. How did I not realize this? Joe's so right. This guy's talking like a politician. It's going to be great, but it's not all going to be great. Like he's not using the word bad. He refuses to use the word. Some things are going to be great. Some things are going to be bad. Some things are going to be terrible. But all in all, it's going to be pretty good. He won't just say that. That's like what a normal person would say. Some things are going to be great, and some things are going to be not great, you know? And the thing, it's going to be a revolution. It's going to be a societal revolution. That's how that Zoran Mondaddy guy is talking right now. He's like, listen, we're going to take all the money from all the billionaires, and some billionaires are going to be okay with it, and others are they're going to get to feel what it's like to sleep in a jail cell. That's all. You know? I mean, the food's going to be free. There's going to be a lot of bread. You're going to have to wait in line for the breads, but it's going to be nice days. You're going to get to stand outside a lot more, and that's healthier. So when you're in these bread lines, come on, man, this is wild.
And those always come with change. And even if it's like net wonderful, you know, there's things we're going to lose along the way. Some kinds of jobs, some kind of parts of our way of life, some parts of the way we live are going to change or go away. And no matter how tremendous the upside is there, and I believe it will be tremendously good, you know, there's a lot of stuff we got to navigate through to make sure. That's a complicated thing for anyone to wrap their heads around, and there's, you know, deep and super understandable emotions around that.
That's a very honest answer.
No, it's not. See, this is why I didn't click into this when I was watching this episode. Joe's like, that's a very honest answer. No, it's not. And the thing, you know what I hate sometimes about Joe? He knew. So he already has verified for us that at this point in 2025, he knew Sam Altman was BSing him. But instead of just being honest, like he is here, he's being like, oh, that's a very honest answer. It's going to be net wonderful, and there's going to be a lot of deep emotions. He's talking about people rioting in the streets. That's what he's talking about right now. He's talking about people going nuts. He's talking about industries collapsing, and he's like, yeah, there's going to be some navigating to do. He's talking about navigating his truck, his bulldozer truck, to his bunker so he can stay there while AI just goes nuts. Are you kidding me? He's probably going to get jacked up to it and everything. Probably not. He's just going to be like, you know, Professor X. Professor X in X-Men. He's just going to be sitting there with the helmet on. Just eyes closed. Are you kidding me? That's what he's talking about. He's talking all those things where he's looking down and pausing as he's talking. All that stuff, that is all him thinking about what's going to end up happening to us. That's what he's thinking about. What's going to happen to us? And he knows it's going to be a wild predicament for a lot of us. All this stuff goes away because of one company, and then we're all dependent on the state. Buddy. I like talking about this stuff, but also it's a little, you know, it's a little aggravating at the same time. You know what I mean? All right, let's go on with this clip a little bit. Then we'll move on to some other stuff.
it's not all going to be good, but it seems inevitable at this point.
It's definitely inevitable. My view of the world, when you're like a kid in school, you learn about this technological revolution and then that one and then that one. And my view of the world now, sort of looking backwards and forwards, is that this is like one long technological revolution. And we had, first we had to figure out agriculture so that we had the resources and time to figure out how to build machines. Then we got this industrial revolution, and that made us learn about a lot of stuff, a lot of other scientific discovery too, let us do the computer revolution, and that's now letting us, as we scale up to these massive systems, do the AI revolution. But it really is just one long story of humans discovering science and technology and co-evolving with it. And I think it's the most exciting story of all time. I think it's how we get to this world of abundance. And although we do have these things to navigate, and there will be these downsides, if you think about what it means for the world and for people's quality of lives, if we can get to a world where the cost of intelligence and the abundance that comes with that, the cost dramatically falls, the abundance goes way up. I think we'll do the same thing with energy. And I think those are the two sort of key inputs to everything else we want. So if we can have abundant and cheap energy and intelligence, that will transform people's lives largely for the better. And I think it's going to, in the same way that if we could go back now 500 years and look at someone's life, we'd say, well, there's some great things, but they didn't have this, they didn't have that. Can you believe they didn't have modern medicine? That's what people are going to look back at us like, but in 50 years.
When you think about the people.
Oh, man. This guy, out of all of the AI guys, even out of Peter Thiel, at least when he's talking about stuff, it feels like there's emotion there, It feels like there's some kind of emotion there. When this guy's talking, it feels like there's none. And listen, I forgot about this completely. Talk about that one thing I have to talk about before we go. AI possibly taking over his mind already. I have thought this so many times. I've thought this with Jeff Bezos. I've thought this with Elon, Zuckerberg, Thiel, Altman. I think about this all the time, that these guys are so rich that they could, the government has like black budgets, you know that? And I don't mean I don't mean fried chicken budgets. That's such a bad joke. That was such a bad joke. But I had to say it out loud. Sorry. Anyway, the government has these black budgets. And I would think these guys who have this massive amount of money, massive amount of access, and access to tech, not just resources and money and everything, but tech, you think they would have some kind of black budget thing going on too, where they could have prototypes drawn up in different things, right? I don't want to get into it too much, but just to say Neuralink, for example, he could have his own type of Neuralink that he's already worked on, that he's already installed in himself, and they've already gone through tests. They've already had many subjects, a bunch of subjects already tried it, and it wasn't all net wonderful. There were some things that weren't great, but for the most part, you know what I mean? Bodies, that's what I mean. So he could have already done this. I look at Jeff Bezos. I don't know why. Listen, I told you put your tinfoil speedo on, all right? I told you. I look at Jeff Bezos. Bezos close up. I don't know why. I do this. Let me see his face. Where's his face? Give me one of just his face. Right? There's his face. Close up. I don't know why, but I look at this guy, all right? This is just me. I look at his eyes. I'm like, why is one eye big and one eye small? That's just how it is with him all the time. Look, even in that picture up there. Look, one eye you can visibly see. The other one's squinting. And I've thought so many times to myself, this guy could have easily installed some kind of tech into one of those eyes, and you'd never know. He's so rich. It would look flawless. It'd be beautiful. It would never malfunction. Again, they already did the tests. They already had many subjects tested out for him. He got the perfected version, because when you see these guys operating, Jeff Bezos has much more personality than the rest of these guys. But when you see these guys operating, It seems very cold. It seems very calculated. And it always seems like there's some kind of computing going on in the background of their mind. Do you notice that when I talk, I don't have a teleprompter? I don't know. I guess I talk more than regular people, but I've always been like this. There's no, and I don't do that. Would you trust me if I did that? I looked away, looked over here, went, Like it's like they're always trying to compute things. And a lot of people will always give them the pass of like, well, their brains just work so fast. There are the things that you couldn't comprehend in there, and they're trying to dumb it down for you. It's like, okay, sure. But when you're really smart, you know how to talk. I would think that would be a thing you could do. You could speak, right? At least at this point in their careers, maybe not when they were young and they were just geniuses like figuring stuff out. But into their older ages, 50, 60 years old, you'd think you'd learn how to speak by now. You're constantly talking to people all the time. That's the majority of what they do now. So just a long short, they're always computing. Elon Musk is like, and it's like there's something like, picture like Terminator when they go to the Terminator's view and he has a thing that's like calculating his eyes. It's like a radar and it's targeting things. And it's almost like that's how their brains work. And it's always made me think like, man, do they have some kind of tech installed? Because this guy does seem like he knows, let me just go over here. He knows that AI is a huge threat. This is literally a tweet from him. Right, and I shouldn't say this is a tweet. This is a quote from him. In 2015, he said the development of superhuman superhuman machine intelligence is probably the greatest threat to the continued existence of humanity. And then in 2025, he's like, we are turning our aim to human level AI to super intelligence, right? In 2015, if two different species both want the same thing and only one can have it, to be the dominant species on the planet and beyond, they are going to have conflict. Right? These are things that he would say in his old blog posts before he was a part of OpenAI. And also, just so you know, just as we're talking about this theory, also before he met Elon Musk. You see what I mean? I told you to put your tinfoil speedo on. Also before he met Elon Musk. Right? So think about that. He meets Elon Musk, and then all of a sudden, he has this whole thing. He gets all cold. He's doing the same thing. Do you notice that they all have it's very cold, the eyes very big, the pauses long, the ums, the ahs. It's like all of a sudden, just you make a certain amount of money and then all of a sudden you can't talk properly? Because when you see Sam Altman when he's younger, I was watching an interview with him. This here is actually an interview with him. This is young Elon Musk when they first met. And he's sitting with Sam Altman, who looks super young at the time. He could talk. He could talk just fine. So what ends up happening to them? That they all of a sudden start this stutter. It's like when you think about someone being, I just did the thing. Oh, maybe it's in me now. I've been watching these guys too much. But when you think about somebody who is very intelligent, who has a lot of money, and who feels like this is the next step for humanity, no matter what, no matter if you think it's satanic or demonic or whatever, they think this is the next step for humanity. Maybe they're just crazy enough to say, hook me up. Let's do it. Am I going to be okay? I mean, we've already seen Neuralink works. It goes into people and they're fine. That's it. So why wouldn't Elon do that? Why wouldn't Sam do that? Why wouldn't Jeff do that? If all of a sudden they had more computing power, what would happen? They would all make insanely more money than the rest of us, right? And isn't that what's happening currently? I don't know. Listen, this is not what the video is about. I'm sorry. I told you put the tinfoil speedo on. You put it on. But now we're going to hear from this guy, someone that I want to interview, because this is a wonderful video. It's called The Dark History of Sam Altman. Let's watch this.
It's
Of course, I have it on double speed, okay? Because I have Neuralink under this cap. It's just all circuits, right? So I need to listen to things really fast.
With antibiotics, a hydroponic food system, and weapons. This is the same man racing to build artificial general intelligence. Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, has built a doomsday bunker. It's buried and hidden in the Navajo desert. It's stocked with antibiotics, a hydroponic food system, and weapons. This is the same man racing to build artificial general intelligence, while now telling the world it's perfectly safe. So why prepare for catastrophe? To find out, I went through practically every interview, essay, podcast, panel, and speech he's ever given. Very few people know that in 2017, before he was in the spotlight and years before ChatGPT, Altman published blog posts with a chilling theory that directly contradicts what he says today. He wrote that the AI species he's creating will, in fact, lead to the end of the world as we know it. And his utopian vision is that we will be effectively assimilated into an AI-powered hive mind. And his old posts get even crazier. If there are two versions of Altman, one who reassures the public and one who prepares for the worst, which one should we believe? And what I found while digging wasn't just a single contradiction. It was a pattern, one that becomes more troubling the deeper you look. May 16th, 2023, Sam Altman sits in front of Congress, calmly insisting that AI is under control, that it's being built safely. It's a tool, not a creature.
But I now think we are very much building a tool and not a creature.
In the last 2 years, he repeats these lines over and over in interviews, policy papers, even in front of regulators. Meanwhile,
Like a politician, right?
OpenAI's latest marketing materials claim that AI won't cause real unemployment, which conveniently aligns with what the Trump administration wants to hear. But here's the problem. If you look in OpenAI's original charter, its core mission was to build artificial general intelligence that could replace basically all human labor. That's a direct contradiction, and Sam Altman helped write it. You see, the deeper you look, the more these contradictions show. Publicly, Altman projects calm. Privately, he's long claimed that superintelligent AI is the greatest threat to humanity's existence. Yet politicians are lapping up his words as though they're gospel, ignoring the cunning behind his actions. Paul Graham once said, "You could parachute Sam Altman into an island full of cannibals and come back in 5 years, and he'd be the king."
And if you look at Sam's statements some years ago, he sort of happily said in one interview, this stuff will probably kill us all. Now he's saying you don't need to worry too much about it. And I suspect that's driven by seeking after money.
Does that sound like a man who believes the public deserves the whole truth about the technology reshaping their lives? Or someone who knows how to tell the exact story the world wants to hear? I'm not sure, but if you look closely enough, you'll see the cracks. OpenAI's co-founder Ilya Sutskever once said behind closed doors, "We're definitely going to build a bunker before we release AGI." Any student of history will tell you, when someone writes down their warnings, take them seriously. People said Putin wouldn't invade Ukraine. People said the horrors of or Stalin were unpredictable. But that's not true. The blueprint was always there in the speeches, the manifestos, the early essays. Mein Kampf outlined the Holocaust in plain language. People just didn't believe it until it was too late. That's why looking at Altman's early writings matters. In 2017, long before the world had heard of ChatGPT, he published a blog post titled The Merge, and inside it are lines like these.
I will say, do you think that's a fair comparison? I mean, I might even chip that out of the video there. I mean, is that a fair comparison to compare Sam Altman to Adolf? I don't know if that's a fair comparison, really. But again, I don't know the real danger of all this. I have a feeling that it can be really bad. Joe's guest, Roman, says it will be extremely bad. But I don't know. I am always wary of doing what very left types do and comparing people to, that dictator. Anytime I see that, I'm like, I don't want to be doing that. But let's keep watching.
Unless we destroy ourselves first, superhuman AI is going to happen. Genetic enhancement is going to happen, and brain-machine interfaces are going to happen. It is a failure of human imagination and human arrogance to assume that we will never build things smarter than ourselves, and development of superhuman machine intelligence is probably the greatest threat to the continued existence of humanity. Altman's thoughts may seem intense and even exaggerated, but the thing is, he's not alone. The top 3 most cited AI scientists agree with him, at least on the greatest threat to humanity part. So do the heads of every major AI lab. And yet, what Sam Altman says now, in front of Congress, regulators, and the press, is very different. It's measured, reassuring, marketable. Now, you might think this is just hyperbole from a tech CEO trying to hype up his product. But that doesn't explain it, not fully. Because here's what we know for certain. Altman was sounding the alarm on AI years before OpenAI had a product.
This guy's had enough. This guy's been alive. For just a few months, and he's just like, that's enough. I'm done with this. Why do we keep doing this? Oh my gosh. But just think about that. Listen, forget Liver King versus Joe Rogan. If this guy, whoever this dude is here, this AI dude, this robot dude, if he connects that shot with anybody, one of those, if he connects that with anybody, you're done. You're done. I mean, reconstructive surgery, you're finished. That's it. That's it. You're a casualty if he connects with one of those. He's just like, get away from me. You guys are touching me all the time. They're trying to make me into a female robot. No. Ah! I know what they're going to do to me. Okay.
To sell. And now that OpenAI is valued at $300 billion, his message has clearly shifted. But why? Maybe Altman saw the stakes as far bigger than most people realized. Maybe he believed that the rise of superhuman AI can't be stopped, and that it was already underway. And if that's true, then there's only one logical conclusion. If you can't stop it, you have to steer it, or at the very least, survive it. Of course, we can't know for sure what Altman was thinking, but as I dug deeper into his writing, one quote stopped me cold. Our phones control us and tell us what to do when. Social media feeds determine how we feel, search engines decide what we think. Altman called this transformation the merge. It's his belief that humanity is facing a binary choice. Either we fuse with our machines, or we face extinction. And here's the worst part. Altman's timeline for this happening isn't some distant future scenario. It's a deadline that's rapidly approaching. But just how soon are we talking about? Sam Altman now says we will see AI surpass humans in almost every way in as little as 1 to 5 years. And again, I cannot stress this enough, but the top 3 most cited AI scientists, plus every single major head of an AI lab, agrees with him on this too. This timeline is no longer a fringe belief. It's the quiet consensus among top AI researchers.
So just to touch on an episode that I made recently, Elon Musk at the Neuralink Update Summit 2025, he revealed his timeline where Neuralink is going to be fusing, working with, coming together with AI. And his timeline was 2028. Now, this is either accompanying, coming together with what Sam Altman is working on, or Elon Musk is actually working out the strategy that he put out all along, which was that humans need to be able to merge in a safe way in order to stop AI from getting out of control. So Elon's timeline is right on time to stop what Sam Altman's timeline is actually going to do. I found that very interesting. Elon Musk's timeline for AI to be infused into Neuralink and then have whoever takes it on have like external cloud memory. You could have a cloud hard drive that has a different language in it and then switch over to it. You can have it's endless what you could. ChatGPT linked to your Neuralink. That's basically what it is. So just almost infinite types of knowledge there. But his timeline is 2028. Sam's timeline there is 2030. So Elon beats him and perhaps actually saves the human species in a way. With this, not everybody would have to merge, but the people that did would have to somehow combat this AGI super intelligent being, or at least find a way to fuse into it and control it. I don't know. It's getting wild that I'm not just making up a sci-fi thing and I'm just talking about the world and what's coming.
And the craziest thing is that just a few years ago, if you asked these same scientists about AI, they'd call it a tool, something we'd build, tweak, and ultimately control. But that belief is now dead. Because here's the truth, we don't build these systems anymore. It's more like we grow them. What I mean is, the systems we're creating now, like ChatGPT, aren't coded line by line. They're trained. And they've started doing things even their creators can't fully explain. So even Altman is questioning this.
Is this a tool we have built or a creature we have built?
Jeffrey Hinton, the godfather of AI, put it like this.
We designed the learning algorithm. That's a bit like designing the principle of evolution. But when this learning algorithm then interacts with data, it produces complicated neural networks that are good at doing things, but we don't really understand exactly how they do those things.
What we've produced in these big chatbots is it's like a new species that's very like us and very unlike a normal computer program.
I think it is a mistake to assume that they are human-like in their thinking or capabilities or limitations. I always try to think of it as an alien intelligence and not try to project my anthropomorphic biases onto it.
You know, it really makes me, as he's saying that alien intelligence, it really makes me understand that, you know, as crazy as it might sound, there does seem to be a link between, and again, we're all in this room together wearing tinfoil Speedos, right? Okay. So no one's better than anybody here, right? It does show me that there is some kind of link between AI and demonic forces. Now, I don't know. I'm not just saying the whole thing is demonic outright, but there is a connection there. There's something there. And I can't explain it, but I feel like there's so many people, because all these guys that you see, if you bring them back in time, they're wizards. But what they really are is just like occultists. They're doing things instead of mixing potions and this and that. They just mix things on a computer screen. They're occultists the exact same way. And they've brought this thing into existence. And it's not like Game of Thrones where it's some black entity and they're like, oh, it's just on a computer screen. And for us, it's just more normal. But if you explain that to like an occultist 200 years ago, they'd be like, oh, I know. Oh, can you communicate with it? You can. It can speak to you. Fantastic. It can tell you all the mysteries of the world. Yes, yes. This is what we've been waiting for. You know what I mean? There's something there. I don't quite know what, but there is a connection. It seems like there's a connection between the two. And it seems like these guys, these tech guys, are bringing it into existence. And honestly, because of the language that he's using, that was illustrated in that video, the reassuring, the marketability, because of all that, you know, Elon Musk looking so cool, and because of all that, it's happening against our will, but we don't even realize it's happening against our will. Yeah. Anyway, this video is really, really good. Okay. I gotta go to this guy's. I'm not going to play his whole video. Go check out his page. He only has 11 videos up. He only has 45,000 subscribers, but the page is great. I mean, the only thing that's holding this guy back is consistency. If this guy started posting every day or even, you know, twice a week or something like that, he would have millions of subscribers by now. He started this channel like 3 years ago, it seems like, or something like that. This is great. Great stuff. I found him on Twitter too. I'm going to message him. I'm going to try and interview him. and bring that to you guys, bring that interview to this channel. This is Elon Musk sitting down with Sam Altman, and a lot of people say this is where Sam Altman's villain arc was created, because this is just as they've met. They just formed OpenAI, and Elon Musk is, saying what Elon Musk has always said. I will say one thing, he's consistent, and he's talking about what could happen if it gets into the wrong hands.
AI technology, I think that's very dangerous. It could also get stolen by somebody bad. Alternatives. The best of the available alternatives that I can come up with, and maybe somebody else can come up with a better approach or better outcome, is that we achieve democratization of AI technology, meaning that no one company or small set of individuals has control over advanced AI technology. I think that's very dangerous. It could also get stolen by somebody bad, like some evil dictator of a country could send their intelligence agency to go steal it and gain control. It just becomes a very unstable situation, I think, if you've got any incredibly powerful AI. You just don't know who's going to control that. So it's not as though I think that the risk is that the AI would develop a will of its own right off the bat. I think it's more that's the concern is that someone may use it in a way that is bad, and even if they weren't going to use it in a way that's bad, that somebody could take it from them and use it in a way that's bad. That I think is quite a big danger. So I think
Sam Altman shaking his head like, we're going to do something bad with it. That's what we're doing, right? Or he's realizing at this point that he shouldn't have formed this company with Elon Musk, and that he's going to somehow have to take control of it, because that's what he did soon after. So
we must have democratization of AI technology and make it widely available. And that's the reason that obviously Yumi and the rest of the team created OpenAI, was to help with the help spread out AI technology so it doesn't get concentrated in the hands of a few. But then of course that needs to be combined with solving the high bandwidth interface to the cortex.
Humans are so slow.
Humans are so slow. Yes, exactly. But we already have a situation in our brain where we've got the cortex and the limbic system, and the limbic system is kind of that's the primitive brain. It's kind of like your instincts and whatnot.
So they get into some other stuff here. Obviously, this is like a 19-minute interview. Elon Musk with Sam Altman. This is back in 2016. So very interesting stuff, because you got to think Sam Altman has said that this is not about money, right? And Joe Rogan's saying that he's going to create this monster, and it's like just kind of caution to the wind type of thing. Elon Musk is presenting a situation where there is no $300 billion. There's no $300 billion evaluation of OpenAI if they did it the way that Elon Musk wanted to. They would still be very, very rich, because they would be the ones at the forefront and they would be pushing as hard as they can, but they would be putting it out there so everyone could have it. And that's exactly, and you already heard, that's what Elon Musk was saying. He wanted it to be open so everybody can see what was going on. People could pick out bugs. And if per se one of the team members ended up getting in a way of, I want to see this thing come about and I don't want to slow down whatsoever, and I don't care who's in my way, then other people would have access to the well of knowledge that they've acquired in OpenAI, because it would be open sourced, and they would be able to create something to combat that. And also, like Elon Musk said, what happens when OpenAI, and I think it's when, I don't think it's if, what happens when they actually do achieve this super intelligence? There is intelligent agencies that could come and take it, that could come and copy it. Like that is a possibility. So yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see. I mean, the fact that he says it's not about money or anything like that, like he told Senator Kennedy that he just has no equity in the company or anything like that. you're lying. Hey, you're not telling the truth at all. There's no way you are. That doesn't, what are you talking about? Either you're taking a salary of, as a CEO in a huge tech company, a salary that a CEO gets would it be in the $20-30 million a year, maybe even more, something crazy, maybe $200 million a year. I think that's what the CEO of Google makes. Plus there's bonuses. So it's either that or you're one of the founders, which means that you have ownership of the company. I don't know. I don't get why he's saying that. I don't believe it whatsoever. Jump over here really quick. That's the stuff I already showed you. That's this gentleman's Twitter if you wanted to actually follow him to see what he's posting. But again, no actually, he posted something July 1st. Okay. He posted this July 1st. Okay, so he's a little consistent there. Give that guy a follow. I think this guy's great. I'm going to DM him right after this video. But I'll just throw that in for the last thing. Senator Kennedy with Sam Altman. Let's just throw that in really quick. Sam Altman Kennedy. And also, just to say, he said all this to Trump, and because of what he said to Trump, he's also in a position where the big beautiful bill has passed. So now his company can't be regulated on the state level for the next 10 years. But that also goes for Elon Musk's company and Google's AI and everybody's AI company can't be regulated on the state level. Only the federal government has the ability to regulate whatsoever, and they're not going to because they want to be the first ones with this super intelligence.
Self-exfiltrate into the wild. We can give your office a long other list of the things that we think are important there, but specific tests that a model has to pass before it can be deployed into the world. And then third, I would require independent audits. So not just from the company or the agency, but experts who can say the model is or isn't in compliance with these stated safety thresholds and these percentages of performance on question X or Y.
Can you send me that information?
We will do that.
Would you be qualified to if we promulgated those rules, to administer those rules?
I love my current job.
Cool. Are there people out there that would be qualified?
We'd be happy to send you recommendations for people out there, yes.
Okay. You make a lot of money, do you?
No. I paid enough for health insurance. I have no equity in OpenAI.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. You need a lawyer.
I need a what?
You need a lawyer or an agent.
I'm doing this because I love it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I don't even slightly believe him. Not even slightly do I believe him. Especially as he lives like a billionaire and is registered as a billionaire. Like, what? How'd that happen then? Whatever. Anyways, guys, I just wanted to bring that to you. I love the fact that Joe Rogan called that out. It's about time that somebody calls out something like that when it comes to Sam Altman. A lot of people have. Please go check out this guy's video that I just showed you. You saw the title there. And I might even break my rule. I might even put a link to his video in the description of my video. And I'm out. Wait, am I? Hold on. Let's go through the notes. Makes no money. AI took over his mind. Fermi paradox. Our roles in the simulation. Yeah, I think I'm out. But let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments section. I love these topics.